There's nothing worse for a content creator than this. And it is demotivating, because most of the time there's no clear answer to what you did wrong. I'm not here to tell you how bad it feels. I'm here because I think I may have found a solution, a system that could help me further on my journey through content creation. And it's not the editing style or packaging the video, it involves everything. So this is my story of how I found the system of creativity. Creativity was never something I thought about when I was younger. I saw myself rather logical, therefore the creativity side was something out of bounds and only some special people had access to it. This belief held me back because I never thought that creativity is learnable. I thought it was innate and born in some people. The topic of creativity only came to mind when I thought of a new art-related video. And that's where the research happened. Of course, the first thing was Wikipedia. But even there were interesting questions that had to be answered, like, is intelligence linked to creativity? Can we learn it? What exactly is creativity? Is it something never seen before, something new, something innovating, something that expresses something untold, something that helps humanity, something we love? Are we capable of making something new in a world where everything is already there? Yeah, I think so. Now, I think the most important thing, and that's why it's number one, is stability. Now, you may or may not be familiar with this pyramid. If not, this pyramid describes the order of needs human beings have. It goes from the most basic needs, like food and safety, like physical safety, to more abstract ones, like self-development. Now, I would say creativity is pretty high on the scale. I would even say it's at a peak, because creativity for me is a way to express yourself and to show the world how you think and connections you make. Now, you need a stable foundation, but it's normal for things to fluctuate. Of course, your foundation doesn't have to be perfect and you have to live a perfect life for you to be creative. That's not what I'm saying, but you still need a stable foundation, because through this stable foundation, it's easier to focus on creativity. Now, I still often make the mistake that I look at numbers and interpret the wrong things out of that. Yes, it's important to look at the numbers from a business perspective, but from a personal perspective, numbers really give you the wrong motivation. And for me, I realized that by looking at the numbers, my intentions get pretty mixed up. Instead of focusing on bringing value and making the best video I can, I'm starting to focus more and more on the numbers. And that's not something I want to do. The goal should be to be the most authentic that you can be. And it's not easy. I keep losing focus of this goal. But through attention to my intentions, it's how I'm trying to focus more on the right thing. Now, what does this have to do with creativity? Well, I think if you look at the numbers and you don't do it from a place of doing the best you can, then it's kind of hard to be creative. For me, this is where I can be the most creative, when I focus on the right intentions. So by paying more attention to my intention, it's what's helping me to do this out of the right motivation. And in the end, that's what helps me to strive for a more creative outcome. But what does it mean to strive for creativity? Creativity is not this magical thing that sometimes occurs and sometimes doesn't. Well, here's what I found based on books I read and also some research I did. So step one is gaining knowledge. Now, I already made a video on this, but the short form is that knowledge can be viewed as just points. And these points can be connected to each other. And creativity is making connections between points that weren't really made before or are pretty unique. So creativity is basically combining knowledge. So if you want to be more creative in like cinematography, then you will have to learn the rules of cinematography. And the more you learn, the more you can connect different kind of rules with each other and make something unique. Now, you can learn from only one domain, which is cinematography in this case, or you can also learn from like photography and drawing and try to combine all the knowledge you have from all those domains into your work. And this is what will make you creative and authentic. This will lead to a new outcome. No one will connect the dots like you would. Now, these dots can also be inspiration. That's why a lot of artists make mood boards and just inspo boards. Now, to this step, there's a lot more behind it. If you're interested, just type in the comments and I will make a whole nother video on this because it's pretty complicated. Step 2 is what I kind of already said, and it is to connect the dots. Connect all the knowledge, connect all the inspiration you have, and also it's important and you can break the rules. A lot of cinematographers break rules. For example, the rules of lighting, where you make the whole scene very, very dark to give it this kind of feeling. These connections sometimes also happen randomly, like when sitting on a bus and you think, oh, I could make a film where I also draw in some of the frames because I love drawing and I love filmmaking. This is like a connection that sometimes happens randomly, but you can also do that intentionally. Mr. Beast did an interview once where he talked about how he did an information diet. Now, information diet is kind of a bad term nowadays, but how he used it makes a lot of sense creatively. What he did is he learned random facts out of just a dictionary and out of just the random magazines, and then sat down and tried to get new ideas on what inspired people. And that's what made him creative and what made him millions of dollars and authentic. Now, step 3 is something a lot of people forget, and that's me included. And that step is to actually go out there and make it. Now, this step sounds so dumb, but there is so much behind it. There is fear when creating, there is pressure, there is so many other things that go into creating something. But it is an art of itself to go through all that and take the idea and create something with it. And that is the last step. And this is how I am learning and trying to implement the system of creativity. Of course, there are gonna be tweaks to this system. The more I learn, the more observations I make about myself and what works and doesn't. So if you're interested in this topic of creativity and the systems I'm trying to build around them, then consider subscribing. And also, if you're interested in the topic, then please write it down in the comments. I will be happily to discuss with you the topic of creativity. So if you made it till here, go out there and make something unique.